Have you ever dreamed of really, truly seeing America? I mean, not just flying over it at 30,000 feet, but actually watching the entire epic landscape unfold right outside your window. Well, for about $500, you can. So let's dive into this explainer on the Amtrak USA Rail Pass, which is basically a single ticket that could unlock an incredible 30-day American adventure.
And that quote just captures the magic of it, doesn't it? This isn't about getting from point A to point B as fast as humanly possible. No, this is about the journey itself. It's a totally unique way to see the country, where the rhythm of the rails kind of forces you to slow down, to breathe, and just watch. It's an experience you simply cannot get in a car or on a plane. So here's the deal in a nutshell. For a flat fee, usually $4.99, but keep an eye out for sales, you get 10 train rides. And you can take all 10 of those rides over a 30-day period. Now, if you max it out and use all 10, you're looking at less than $50 a ride. That is an incredible value, especially for some of Amtrak's longest, most jaw-dropping cross-country routes.
But you know, a deal that good, there's gotta be a catch, right? Well, there are definitely some rules. And look, this pass isn't for everyone. It takes a little bit of planning to really make it worth your while. So in this explainer, we are going to break down everything, and I mean everything, a savvy traveler needs to know, from the fine print to the pro tips, so you can figure out if this adventure is the right one for you.
Okay, so first things first, let's unpack that dream. We're going to look at exactly what you get for your money and, why this pass captures the imagination of so many travelers. So here is the basic mechanics of it. The moment you buy the pass, a 120-day clock starts. You've got that long to begin your trip. But the real clock, the one that matters, starts ticking with your very first ride. From that point on, you have 30 days to use up your 10 travel segments. And those segments can take you to over 500 destinations, all from a coach class seat. Okay, this next part is maybe the most important thing you need to understand about this pass. It all comes down to that word, segment. And trust me, it's not as simple as it sounds. So listen up, because this is crucial. A segment is not a trip. Let me say that again. A segment is not a trip. A segment is one single ride on one single train. So, if your journey requires you to change trains at any point, even for a quick connection, that's going to cost you another segment. This is the #1 rule you have to master to plan a good trip. Let's walk through a real-world example. Let's say you want to get from Seattle to Denver. Well, there's no direct train, so you board your first train, maybe the Coast Starlight, to get to Portland. You get off, boom, that's segment 1 used. Then in Portland, you have to get on a different train, say the Empire Builder, to continue to Denver. You board that train, and that's segment 2. Just like that, one trip has used up 2 of your 10 precious segments.
All right, now that we've got the whole segment thing down, let's talk about the fine print. These aren't necessarily deal breakers, but they are things you absolutely have to know before you buy, just so you can avoid any frustrating surprises down the line.
Okay, let's run through these because they're all super important. First, it's coach class only, and you can't pay extra to upgrade to a sleeper car or business class, so you need to be okay with sleeping in a reclining seat. Second, you can't just hop on a train. Every single leg of your journey needs a reservation. And here's the real kicker. Amtrak limits how many seats are available for pass holders on each train, so for popular routes, you need to book way in advance. And finally, just embrace the pace. Amtrak shares its tracks with free trains, so delays aren't just a possibility, they're kind of part of the experience. The flexibility of this pass is a real double-edged sword. On one hand, it's fantastic for being spontaneous. You could have a trip booked to Philly, change your mind an hour before, and swap it for Boston with 0 fees. Amazing, right? But on the other hand, the very second you scan your ticket for that first ride, your pass is locked in. It's non-refundable, you are committed to the adventure.
And just a quick heads up on where you can't go. This pass won't work on the high-speed Acela trains in the Northeast, or the auto train that carries cars down to Florida. It's also not valid on the Canadian part of some cross-border routes. Most of the network is your playground, but these specialty services are off-limits.
Okay, we've gone through all the rules. Now for the fun part. Let's talk strategy. How do you take all this info and build an itinerary that squeezes every last drop of value and fun out of your pass? Let's get into the pro tips.
This right here is the absolute key to making this pass worth it. You have to use your segments for the big-ticket items, the long, expensive, incredibly scenic routes where the journey itself is the whole point. Think the California Zephyr across the Rockies. For the short, cheap trips, like New York to Boston, it's often way smarter to just pay the $29 cash fare and save that $50 segment for a ride that would otherwise cost you hundreds. Do not waste a segment on a trip that costs less than the segment's value.
And when we say long haul, we really mean it. The California Zephyr from Chicago to San Francisco is a 52-hour journey. That's 2 full nights on a train. That is more than 2 entire days on a single ride. These trips are absolutely epic, but you have to be mentally and physically prepared for spending that much time in a coach seat. Which, of course, brings us to our next point.
To make these marathon train rides not just bearable, but actually enjoyable, you need a personal comfort kit. Seasoned travelers swear by this stuff. For sleeping, a small blanket, an inflatable pillow, and an eye mask are non-negotiable. To tune everything out, you need noise-canceling headphones. And to stay sane and civilized, pack your own snacks, a big water bottle, a portable charger, and some wet wipes. This little kit will completely change the game on a long-haul trip.
So let's circle back to the big question. The USA Rail Pass, it has its quirks, right? It has a rule book you have to follow, and it definitely demands some planning. But for the right kind of traveler, the one who's willing to embrace a slower pace, sleep in a reclining chair, and strategically map out a journey, it offers an unbelievably affordable and deeply unique way to witness the sheer scale and beauty of this country. It's really not just a ticket, it's an invitation to a totally different kind of adventure.